Salam and greetings. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor that I have been asked to speak today. I warmly welcome Mr. Shaibi, the faculty, the Board of Trustees, and families, especially my brother who traveled all the way from Afghanistan to be here. Seniors, this is your last day in this beautiful home. Soon you will make another place your home. But what does home mean to you? Before I began my journey to the States, I didn't have a clear image of Americans in my mind. My people, I'm sure you can understand, have different thoughts of Americans. Some people are happy, some are not. Some Afghans see Americans as saviors, some as infidels. Some Afghans judge Americans only by seeing their soldiers on the streets in Kabul. My father worked as a driver with American soldiers in Bagram, a military base where a team of special forces flew from to kill bin Laden in Pakistan. My father had a ganglion growing on the back of his hand. It became so painful that he drove his truck with his left hand on the steering wheel. The next day, doctors at health center at Bagram performed surgery to remove it. Even though the service was supposed to be limited to only American soldiers, my dad appreciated the service he received from those Americans. I remember him telling us the nurses were so kind to him and the way they treated him was unforgettable. In 2012, when I first came to the States, Rizwan, who went to graduate school with my brother Kiam, picked me up from Logan Airport and drove me to LA. On the way, Rizwan kept asking one question after another, but I was looking out the car's window, quiet and calm. I was physically in the car. Perhaps I had arrived to a new planet, but I was still thinking about the conversation I had with Kiam on staying out of relations with girls and focusing on my studies. After an hour or so, we arrived at LA in the afternoon. He parked the car in front of the schoolhouse and we walked into the building. We ran into Mr. Moore. He welcomed us warmly and gave us the key to my room. We found the door in Prescott and carried my luggage in. I was very nervous about what was coming next. As we walked to the dining hall, I was like a kid in a candy store looking around. Everything was new for me: the food, people, language, and customs. I was struggling with the new language, thus I was very quiet. We met Mr. Brasha at the dining hall, who is sitting somewhere right here and taking notes and judging my speech. I remember nodding my head while he was talking, even though I didn't understand the conversation completely. After dinner, it was time for Rizwan to leave. Before saying goodbye, he looked at me and said, "Don't worry, everyone is here to help you." Then he left the campus. I felt like a boat in the middle of the ocean, seeing him driving down the road. The following day, I added the word starve to my dictionary when I missed dinner. It was an absolute challenge when I wanted to say something, but I was communicating something else. But people never laughed at me. Instead, they pronounced the words so I could learn by imitating them. Although I never missed the words sheep and shit. In my first year, I learned how to run from what's comfortable and forget safety and live where I fear to live, as the Persian poet Rumi advises. My goal was to forget friends, family, and adjust myself to the new environment. Like Abraham Lincoln, when it comes to school, work, and study, I never had a policy. I have just tried to do my very best each and every day. Time is flying. It was Thanksgiving. Unlike the other students, I was homeless in the States. Mrs. Hughes, the assistant to Ala's head of school, took me to her place to stay over a break. In the afternoon, we went to the grocery store. As I was walking with the cart behind her, she kept asking me what meals I liked the most, what meals my mom used to make for me back home. Of course, I like chicken and rice. She cooked chicken, rice, and green beans for dinner. It smelled like home, I said to myself as I was walking to the dining room. I didn't feel like a stranger while I was chatting and eating dinner with her and her husband Greg. The following day, we went out hiking. She did anything she could to make my time pleasant. Ever since, I have had the pleasure to pass my time with Mrs. Hughes and Greg. She's a big sunflower lover, so I painted sunflowers for her so she could look at it and remember me. Now I have a small room in her house. I admire her kindness and sense of caring. She truly represents Americans. I have learned many things during these 3 years, inside and outside of class. But I learned the real meaning of love from her. As we say in Persian, Hamdili behtar az hamzadoni ast. No? Okay. In English it means love doesn't need a common language or culture. Wherever you go, seek love and make that place home.